You're watching ABC News Breakfast. The top story this morning, there have been dramatic scenes in London with riots extending into a third day. The area of Croydon in the city's south was cordoned off as a building there was set alight.
Police have been deployed to stop hundreds of youths from burning vehicles, buildings and looting shops. The British Prime Minister David Cameron has returned home from holidays to deal with the escalating violence.
Anthony Dann is a former ABC online journalist who lives at Clapham Junction in London, where some of the rioting has been happening overnight. He joins us now via webcam. Danny, good morning. What have you seen?
Good morning. It's about 11:30 here at the moment. We were down in Clapham Junction just earlier this evening having dinner, and there was already rumblings of something going on. We were seeing people nervously and anxiously looking behind themselves, walking up the street towards us. Right on 9 o'clock, which is when a lot of the shots were shutting up, that's when it all kicked off. There was 200 to 300 youths I saw in dark clothing with hoods and their faces covered. They just arrived from all over the place, streaming down from Lavender Hill, going down into St John's Road, which is kind of where Northcote Road and St John's Road join together and they form like a main intersection. Everything down from there has been totally looted.
So it looked, from your perspective, as being fairly organised when it did happen at 9 o'clock.
Absolutely. There was apparently there was chatter going on the social networking, but also I was standing on the corner outside the pub at this intersection, watching these youths just stream down and head straight for all of the retail stores in that strip. So Curry's, which sells high-end TV and radios and computer equipment. They just poured into it. It was like something I can't describe, but they just literally walked through the crowd of onlookers as calm as can be, put their hoods up and got stuck in.
Any sign of police, emergency services while you were there?
Well, when I was there, it was about 9 o'clock, and that's when it roughly started, and there was already large crowds of people gathering, and everyone was sort of standing by, just dumbfounded, not really sure what to do. It was quite a surreal situation, and the violence just got worse and worse and worse. There was no actual attacks on people. It was all attacks on shops and shop fronts and just general looting, really. But during that whole time, we never saw any police, and I went out for a walk about half an hour ago, and that's when the first police arrived. So they've been looting unchallenged for about 2 hours in this area, and only about 15 minutes ago a helicopter turned up overhead, one of the police helicopters, and it's hovering in the area. So I imagine that they're starting to build a police presence in the area just as we're speaking.
And Danny, when you went out half an hour ago, how extensive was the damage then?
Well, I couldn't see a lot from where I was because I was really concerned for my safety and my girlfriend's safety at the time, but I could see though they had torn the security door off Curry's, which is a retailer, electrical retailer, and they were smashing windows. And I have heard just a little while ago that Debenhams, which is like Mars or David Jones, one of those big stores, has been totally stripped of everything. It was like 5 stories high, a big old, I suppose, Victorian building, and even unconfirmed reports too that it was actually on fire.
And as a journalist, you would have been keeping abreast the UK media there, and there have been lots of almost pleas by authorities for people just to get off the streets because they obviously fear things could get a whole lot worse over the next few hours. Well,
absolutely, and I completely understand that point of view. When we were standing around, it was such a surreal and strange experience that they didn't seem to be interested in the onlookers. They were just going straight for their targets. But as soon as the police turned up, the mood amongst the people who were on the street changed completely, and a cheer went up from the looters. And I wasn't sure whether that was because it was a challenge or they were happy to see them, so they had something to rail against. But prior to that, it was just purely looting and burglary.
OK, Anthony Dann, we'll leave it there. Stay safe. Thank you very much for your report this morning.
Thank you.